What's up guys, Jason here representing Raptor Reptiles, and today I decided to bathe a lot of my littlest bubbas that I have, and they're actually not so little anymore. Now they're entering that mode or stage in life from babies to juveniles right now. So from my good friend KP over at KP Critters, as you all know, I got Diablo here. I got him when he was 8 weeks old only, and I was just checking the date, and he's actually 4.5 months old, doing great. And he is a hypotrans dunner, really red. And you know, when we got him, he was actually really feisty. He was a little spitfire, that's why we named him Diablo, trying to bite, very scared. But now look at him with a little bit of attention and care. I mean, he's like a totally new dragon. So don't always judge a dragon from right when you get them. You know, you can always work with them and tame them and get them to be where you want them to be at. This requires some effort. So once again, this guy is doing great. I just can't believe how fast he's growing. So I'm actually curious because I actually haven't measured him or weighed him in a while. So I just want to see where he's at. So Diablo is 11.5 inches long and 101 grams at 4.5 months. So I'm not worried about him. I would say at this point, I usually feed them crickets up until they're around 11 inches. Once they hit 11 inches, you can start introducing stuff like superworms and dubias. You can always feed them the little wax worms. I try and stay away from those just because they seem to certain things that they really like when they're young, they get very picky. So I like to bring them up and get them through that difficult stage from the baby into the juvenile stage. So I like to usually keep them on one thing. I find it easier. So I kept mine on crickets up until about the past week when I ran out and they weren't shipping during the holidays. But they're back on crickets right now, probably until they get around 12-13 inches, and then I'll start offering a little bit more of a variety. So that's Diablo. Alright, now this is Lily. She's always been feisty since I got her. We're still working with her. I feel like something happened when she was a baby. I got her at a reptile show from Dachi Dragons, and I feel like I did get her for a steal. I only paid $150 for her, and she is a hypo normal scale het trans. But so this is, now I'm just going to show you how every dragon's so different. Like Diablo was the dunner, she's the normal scale, and she is like a very scaly normal scale. She has the most pronounced scales. Like look at the side spikes, they're coming out of every which direction. She is a great looking normal scale dragon, and she is actually the biggest one. I would say she's probably at 5 months at least. I couldn't get an exact date from him. The guy told me he has like 500 dragons. It was at a reptile show. I told him the genetics I wanted. He brought her to the show. Really nice people. They hooked it up, so I'm not worried about it. I did get her for a steal though, with some nice bargaining skills. But look at her beard even. She just finished shedding, but now she's getting such a nice saturation into her beard and into her chest. So she's going to be a great orange red color and these blue barrings. They're more of like blue spottings, and you can even see Lily's shape of her head. She's going to have like a nice big crown, and she has a nice big jaw. She's really a great looking dragon, and I mean, for all we know, she could end up trumping even big bubs at the rate she's growing right now. I mean, she could end up at 24 inches. She's 13 inches and 157 grams, and she's pretty much a garbage disposal. She'll eat anything I throw at her. And she has some real nice paws on her too. Real big feet, which make me think like she's gonna, like a dog, she's gonna be a really big dragon, really big head, nice wide body. So I'm really glad that I ended up getting her. So we're still working with her. She calms down once you hold her a little bit. That's Lily. Now this is Big Boy, and I know a lot of people want to judge him, be like, oh, he's not as vivid and as beautiful as the other ones. Well, I'm telling you right now, do not judge a book by its cover, like I said, because I did pick her up from my good friend Tamara over at Rainbow Bearded Dragons, and yes, he wasn't as colorful as a baby, but these dragons, their color will develop over time. Once you get them as a baby, that's only a sample of what they will become. Like, his arms just shed, and I don't know if you can see, he's picking up some really nice oranges in his arms right now. Now his body's in shed, he's got some nice orange on his ears, but this boy's exactly 4 months old, and he's 13.5 inches at 100 grams. So he's about a half a month younger than Diablo, and already longer, and weighs exactly the same. So the reason I got him was because she does claim that she has her German Giant genes. So I'm hoping that this guy is going to be have some real strong genetics, because he's a double het for hypo, het for trans. So he's not he's not showing any morphs at all. So if you get a normal dragon with no morph showing, they're gonna grow and probably be one of your bigger dragons. The more morphs in your dragon's genetics, it ends up weakening them, and it makes them smaller. So it can take literally generations to strengthen up one of these genetic morphs, because there are mutations in the genetic line, which anything away from what he is right now, a normal bearded dragon, he's normal scale, he's not hypo, he's not trans, he's not dunner. So I think he's going to be a real big boy, which is why I got him, because now he does carry he is heterozygous for hypo and trans, so he's carrying the gene. So if I do pair him up with one of my more exotic and looking ones, I feel like they're going to get some of his genetics, which will strengthen each line and hopefully yield me bigger dragons. So there's a method to my madness, and I'll go over a real whole genetic why I chose the dragons that I have. But don't sleep on Big Boy. I'm telling you right now, 3 months down the line, we'll be looking at him. He's going to be a nice, huge, healthy stud. So, and then I'm going to say, finally, I got a dragon from Tamara that is German Giant, because unfortunately we love Mandarin, but she may be a little pygmy dragon. I don't know if she's reached her peak already. So we'll find out in a couple more months, but she's definitely not German Giant. And that's not her fault, you can't tell when they're babies. So I have a feeling this boy is gonna do it. So this guy, as you can see, I'm just running him all over the place. He's extremely tame. All her dragons are, and that's one reason why I also bought him. She must give them a lot of attention, and her lines are extremely domesticated, which is it's nice to have, especially if you're a first-time bearded dragon owner. So she comes highly recommended. KP, my boy, I mean, I talk to him at least once or twice a week, and he is really helpful. So if you guys haven't checked out KP Critters, highly recommend him as well. So those are pretty much the two people that I deal with the most right now. I got the most info, and they call me back. So Rainbow Bearded Dragons and KP Critters. So the whole point of this video was we were just giving a bath, and I just wanted to see for myself, because they're all from 3 different bloodlines. They all have different genetics, and they're all around the similar age, but you can see how every single dragon is different. They all have their own personalities, the size of their heads, their shape of their body, how long they are, how big their paws are, I mean how long their tails are. I mean, Big Boy obviously wins with the longest tail I've seen. So the temperament, everything. So you need to know what dragon you have, and if you're like, oh, what am I doing wrong? My dragon you know, he's only 18 inches and 300 grams. Well, maybe that's what his parents were and their genetics were. So just like human beings, every human's different, and you're usually going to be what your parents were. So a good rule of thumb is to look at the parents of the dragon before you buy it, because that's most likely you're going to get a split between what they are. I wonder if this little guy, he seems like he's venting right now. He may be a little hot. Hopefully these little tips help you guys out. I mean, I didn't really have many tips when I kind of got into the hobby, and I did buy pretty quickly, and I wish I did know what I know now. But I don't regret any of the dragons that I bought, and they all are going to have their specific purpose in my breeding project. So now, after talking about the genetics a little bit, just to touch, for example, I'm not going to expect out of those three, Diablo's obviously not going to be the biggest dragon. He's carrying 3 morphs, so I already know his genetics is weakened right now, but he's actually holding strong, meaning that KP Critters has pretty much brought his line and those genetics back up, because he's not hovering that far behind Lily or Big Boy. So I'm gonna still expect a nice, you know, healthy dragon from him, but you cannot deny or compare that Lily and Big Boy are gonna trump him no matter what, just because they're normal. The only morph that Lily's holding is Hypo. It's holding Het Trans, which isn't gonna really affect her genetics at all. So I'm expecting her probably at this rate, she's going to be the biggest, meaning that her parents were probably bigger than Big Boy's parents. But I'm still expecting Big Boy to be a big boy. So that's just a quick to show you that what you can expect when your dragons have morphs. You're not going to get normally as big of a dragon. I mean, they are out there. So when you're seeking out to buy a bearded dragon and you find the breeder that you want, you need to do your research and find out what morphs you want, how long they've been breeding that line, and how strong that bloodline is in their colony. So if they're big on trans, and usually trans are going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit weaker, you want to see what the parents look like, because if their trans parents are, you know, 500 grams plus and 24 inches long, then you know, okay, that line was strengthened, so more than likely your dragon's going to be of normal size. Which most trans lines now are. But like I said, the good rule of thumb is to do research with the breeder that you're trying to buy from, and find out how long they've been breeding the line, and ask them about prior clutches if you're concerned with the size of your dragon. Thanks for watching the videos. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'm just waiting on a couple more pieces, and then I'm going to do that dubia colony video, and then I'll do the super worms when I get my next shipment, and then let me know what other videos you guys want. Thanks for watching.